All right. Let's see. Good morning, guys. See here. All right. Um, do, 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 do. Mm. All right. Good morning, guys. Uh, Looks like we had a rejection. So there's a possible rejection scalp here, for US 30. I'm not going to be taking any trades today. As you guys saw on the winning, I'm already up like 14K for the week. But anybody who is in, there's a current running rejection scalp here for US 30, but we need the 5 second time frame. We need that crossover sell. So we'll just follow this. If I really don't feel like risking, especially since like I'm already up for that one trade today. But since we said we'll be following forward testing this scalps, if I hadn't taken any trade for the day, I would be looking to take it. But let's see. So it came up pretty quickly, but so there's the green X. So ideally, the entry would be there for this trade. And so the trade would be in profit for the rejection scalp. And let's see. And there you almost there. So full TP on the rejection scalp. So this one would have been a quick one. Again, I don't feel like risking my profits for the day, but that would have been a quick entry. 20 points in and out, 20 points stop loss, 20 points TP. So I'm liking this rejection scalps, to be honest. And actually, I think it's majority of them that have propped up my profit for the week. But let me review this rejection scalp. Give me one moment here. All right, so this one was based off of, so I'll go over it. So this was based off of this area, right? And you can see this scalps, you can hold them for like swing positions. And ideally, like you can test, I talked about it yesterday, you can test out going for and there's something I want to show you guys for this rejection scalp. So actually it's this one on the 30 minute, but I'll go over it real quick. You can test out like a 1:2 risk to reward and then set break even when you have a 1:1. I think you'd make more profit that way. But let me see. So the entry was here at 43,262. So 43,262. So you can see for this particular one, rejection scalp. Copy. paste this in here. So I'm just posting this in the trade recap in case anybody wants to review trade ideas and trade recap area. Okay, so let's review that rejection scalp. So what we have here, so this is my 15-minute chart, and there's something that I saw yesterday that can also help avoid some of these losses. So one thing to notice or to note about the rejection, the SAR rejection levels is that, and let me just make sure there's no other entry. Yeah, there's no other entry like on the hourly, whatever. So one thing to make sure or to check on this rejection levels is that, so for example, here, what do we have? We have a 30-minute rejection level. So the one we just took the entry for. So ideally, what I mentioned to you guys is that you want price, you want to have a markup here. You want to have a markup. So for US30, you want price to come past the rejection level by 10 points, right? So you want price to come past the rejection level by 10 points. For gold, you want price to come past the rejection level by $1, 10 pips, depending on however, what is it, 10 or 100? I think that $1 is 100 pips, whatever for gold. For BTC, you want price to go against the rejection level, past the rejection level by $100. Now, one thing you want to note is that if price gets to the rejection level, and we saw that yesterday, I think the loss that we took yesterday for the rejection scalp, one of the rejection scalp, is that if price comes to the rejection level, but does not go 10 points past the rejection level, and instead gives you a rejection that's equal to your take profit. Remember, these are scalps, pretty quick in and out. You don't want to take it again if now it comes back to the rejection level and goes to your 10 points. Because now, ideally, the idea behind this rejection scalps is that you're banking on the rejection candle closing above or below the rejection level, depending on the direction you're trading. So if the rejection candle has tested the rejection level but does not go past the rejection level by your threshold of 10 pips, $1 or 100, depending on what instrument you're trading, and then rejects back above or below the rejection level, it has already done that rejection that you're aiming for. Remember, you're aiming to catch the rejection from that level, but you need price to first break past that rejection level and achieve that threshold. Because what happens is that if it's already gone up without achieving that, for example, 10 points level here, and then comes back below, ideally your entry or your trigger to enter the trade has already gone out. So right now, it would mean that if it's already coming back down, so let's say it touched here, did not achieve our 10-point rejection, and then rejected back up, and then now it goes back down, it's probably meaning that it's about to flash down. So that's one thing to note that when I was thinking about these entries yesterday. Now, the other thing to note is that this SAR level, so for example, you can have a 30, and mostly this won't affect the lower time frames like 30-minute and 15-minute, but sometimes you can have a 1-hour rejection level that's printed on the 15-minute time frame. But if you go to the 1 hour, so maybe let's assume there's a 1 hour printed at randomly. So let's assume there's a 1 hour printed at 43,202 on the 15-minute time frame. But if you go to the actual hourly chart, the hourly might be printed on a different level. So it might be actually even printed at 43,066. The idea is that these rejection levels, they start, right? Price is fractal. They start printing out on lower time frames, and the higher the time frame you go, the price point at which the rejection level was printed at a lower time frame might be different from where it is printed on the higher time frame. So which is why, like for today, if you guys noticed, yes, I saw the rejection level. So this one that we traded today, or not traded, this one that we followed today was at what level? It was a 30-minute level. And you can see here, it's a brand new one. So this one, the candle had not interacted with it just as of yet. However, if you guys notice, I switched to the 30-minute chart, right? Because you want to trade So you want to go to the chart time frame that the SAR level is corresponding to. So again, if you're doing this rejection scalps, and I think too yesterday in that loss we took on the on the um on the rejection scalp, I think it was an hourly or something because I went back. So we traded, it was an hourly rejection, but then when you go to the hourly time frame, that rejection area wasn't there. It was at a totally different level. So key thing, if it prints and it says 30-minute, go to the 30-minute time frame and check and see if it's actually there. Again, 15-minute and 30-minute, most of the times they'll be there. The issue comes in when you see like maybe an hourly rejection level printed on a 15-minute time frame. You want to go to the hourly and make sure that that zone is actually there. If you see a 4-hour rejection level printed on the 15-minute time frame, you want to go to the 4-hour chart and actually make sure that that level is there on the 4-hour time frame. Now here, if you notice, this 30-minute one, this was a fresh one, right? So price hadn't interacted with this area. Now that's why I went to the 30-minute zone, or to the 30-minute time frame. So when I went to the 30-minute time frame, yes, that level is actually there. However, on the 30-minute time frame, it's not a fresh level, right? So by fresh level, I mean that price had already interacted with it previously. So you can see here, this candle is just retesting a level that has been, let me draw this up. So this candle that we entered in was just retesting a level that had already been tested previously. That is actually a better confluence to show you that this is a critical level. So again, you want to monitor them on a 15-minute time frame to, so that you cannot miss them. But then once they print out, go to the actual time frame where they printed out and actually analyze and see, okay, has this level been retested? Okay. Does it match this? Does it match up with the same time? So here you can see this is at 43 to 40, and at the 30-minute time frame, 43 to 40. So that's a static level. So now let's review the entry method. So I've been talking about this entry methods. We talked about you can either set a pending order. So here there was two options. Because we already reached the 30, and this was also an A+ setup, but we had already reached the 10-point threshold. Confluence number 1. Confluence number 2, what zones were we in? We were in a green zone. Yep, so we were in a green zone. Confluence number 3, are there any order blocks surrounding our entry to support our price or our trade? Look at down here, we have an hourly bullish order block. That's perfect. So actually this one was an A+ setup. So there's two things you could have done. Number one, or two things you could have done to enter this trade. You could have set a pending order, but you have to be so quick about it. For this rejection scalps, you have to be very, very quick about it, such that you want price to tap you back, to tap you into the trade after it's hit your 10-point trigger, and then tag you in and go all the way up. Now, you have to be quick to do that. But for me, what I end up doing what we just did here. I end up going to the 5-second time frame and waiting for that crossover of the 5 EMA and 9 EMA. So which is what like this indicator of mine gives me by this green axis. Now, most times for this waiting for the 5-second, you'll get a later entry than a person or someone who did this pending buy here. Now the issue with this pending buy, if the crossover hasn't happened yet, price can easily tag you in but then drop back down and hit stop loss. So that's one little caveat to that. But also same thing, and we've seen this even on the 5-second time frame. Price can easily tag us in, have that crossover, but again hit stop loss. So again, right, there's no 100% win rate, but I feel like this waiting to enter on the 5-second time frame, you get that confluence of the crossover, because normally when EMAs crossover, you have a burst in liquidity to that direction. Not always, but most of the times. Same thing here for gold, right? You can see here for this gold entry, when we had this crossover here, you can see how price busted to the upside, right? Or swung up to the upside heavily. So that's why for me personally, I actually enjoy 5 second entries with the burst in liquidity. Now, let's review something here. When I was talking about for these trades, you can go for a 1:2 risk to reward. So here, for example, 1:2, go for a 1:2 and set stop loss at I'm sorry, set break even when you achieve a 1:1 risk to reward. So this trade, like for me, since for my main account 200k account, I risk 2k per trade. This trade, I could have, if I had taken it with a 1:2, I could have made 4 grand, right? Because price after hitting 1:1 risk to reward did not actually come back to take it out in at break even. Now the caveat to that is that not every trade will actually hit your 1:2. So sometimes you'll actually get stopped at a break even. But it's just that the best thing about the 1:2 risk to reward, the more you stack up wins, the more you have room to lose but still remain profitable. But I always tell people, whatever you do, always make sure whatever strategy you have at least a 1:1 risk to reward. Never go for a negative risk to reward unless you have like a 95% win rate with a negative risk to reward. But I always recommend to people just go for a at least a 1:1 risk to reward. But anyway, this was a nice trade. I would have taken it if I wasn't already up, because my mindset was, okay, I'm already up one trade for the day. If I take this trade and lose, I'll be break even for the day. And as you guys saw, like in the statistics that I sent here for my trading journal, I have a win, I've won every single day of the week. So I really didn't want to mess that up. But so let's see. And this rejection scalps, again, same thing that happened yesterday during the live session. You could ride such a huge move to the upside. And I think I was calculating. So let's assume like you are just riding from zone to zone, right? Let's assume you're riding from this rejection zone to the next rejection zone to the upside. But I'm not saying that this is going to happen every time, but it's happened like 3 times this week. So the distance between this next zone from this zone is what? 240. Let's call it 100 points, right? So 100 points. So given that we have a 20 point stop loss and TP. So 20 points, 100 points divided by 20 points is 5. So if I'm risking 2k for that trade, then I want to ride that whole move back up. Let's say I just had an open TP and stop loss. So this trade, riding this whole move up here to the upside, that's 2000 times 5. That's 10k right there. Yesterday, I think the zone to zone move was like zone to zone move was like I think 300 points or something. But when I was calculating with what I had risked for that rejection scalp I entered pre-market, if I held zone to zone, that would have been 50k right there. But anyway, so I'm liking this rejection scalps. I like them for people who trade futures. For some of the prop firms I have, unfortunately, I need to hold on to the trade for at least 5 minutes. So I cannot be taking these trades for some of the prop firm accounts I have, because they'll just deduct those profits. But for people who trade futures, this is a perfect strategy for them. So I haven't, I don't trade futures. Maybe I'll start trading them, but I just want to make sure I finalize, or I'm able to fine tune this strategy. So this one, anyway, nice rejection scalp in the for the morning today. Gold is dipping pretty nicely. So if you guys remember, this gold trade that we entered last week we had a live session on Tuesday, 18th February, and I did mark up the entry for this gold trade, and I did say we're taking it with $80 TP, $80 stop loss. So this one would have been a swing trade. So I did anticipate it to go on for days, if not weeks. But today we finally hit full TP. And yesterday when we were analyzing gold, and I did mention yesterday that again, this one was an A setup, and possibly A plus setup, because we had a bearish order block in the direction of our take profit. But I did say yesterday, if gold closes below this rejection level on the daily and closes below, it's going to, one thing they tried to do yesterday, and I did mention it on the live session, was that they probably would have tried to close this daily above this rejection level to trap buyers in and then flash price back down to the downside. Now, in the last hours of the day yesterday, if you notice, they actually brought this daily candle a little bit above 28.86, but then it looks like the daily candle actually ended up closing below that rejection level, and also below the bearish order block. Now, this one could have been a quick break and continuation entry on gold yesterday. But again, I don't like break and continuation entries. They're just a little bit too much for me, because most of the times when you get a break and continuation entry, the break candle, if it's a sell, it will be in a demand zone. The break candle, if it's a buy, will be in a supply zone. And I don't like buying into supply or selling into demand. Those break and continuation, the perfect break and continuation entries normally happen during Asia session, because there's not a lot of liquidity in the market. So you'll get like a little bit of range. And then when the break happens, it actually happens like in supply or actually in demand. But so yesterday here, even on the daily, this was a demand zone right here. So it's not even a trade I would have personally taken. But I don't know if we retested that. Yeah, so you can see here, we retested the rejection level. So that would have been another entry for gold yesterday. And this one, you'd have been able to enter with a so $50 TP and stop loss. $50 TP and stop loss. And I think this one would have hit TP as well. And this one again, this would have been an A setup. The only reason actually would have been a B setup, because you'd have been selling into demand. But anyway, looks like it would just be about to hit TP right now. But other than that, so let's review what other entries are present. There was the 4-hour trade yesterday on US 30. But I had mentioned that I wouldn't be looking to take. Was it a 4-hour? No, my bad. It was a, what was it? There was an hourly entry here on US 30 yesterday. US 30. So this one, you would have needed a 300 point TP and stop loss. And looks like this one, you'd have just survived just a little bit. So if we go ahead and replay this. So I was looking at this trade yesterday, but I chose not to take it, because here's the other thing too. When you're taking these entries, it doesn't matter whether it's the SAR levels rejection entry. Ask yourself, how many times, if price is in a rejection level, how many times has that zone been tested, right? So if we look at here, this zone had these rejections, all these rejections here, which is something that was also a red flag on a gold trade that we took a loss on Tuesday, and I'll go over it. So for me, when I was looking at what price was doing here, I knew that the previous day I'd already taken a win on US 30, same level. So, and I was like, do I really want to risk price? And here, the other thing too, I had seen that we have this previously, the previous day, we had tested this daily bullish zone, and price rejected up from there. So if price is going to come back down here, my thought process was that it's not going to reject again from this daily bullish high. Most likely it's going to reject at this daily bullish low here, which is why I was like, okay, in order to survive this trade, most of all, I would need probably a 400 point TP and stop loss. Do I really want to hold US 30 with a 400 point TP and stop loss? Not really. And then I was like, okay, we have this zone, a better zone down here, a weekly rejection zone, and weekly rejection zones rarely come up. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll wait for US 30 whenever it will ever get to this weekly rejection zone, because even with a 300 point TP and stop loss, here they can just come in, pick up liquidity at this daily rejection, daily bullish order block, the low of the daily bullish order block, stop me out, and then go back up to full TP. And I'm like, I'm not really willing to risk, that trade that way. So I just chose to sit out of this trade. And so it looks like it came pretty close to stop loss. So look at what it did yesterday. Came pretty close. You see what they did? Same thing they did yesterday. So I normally tell you guys, for these order blocks, they need to tell you a story. So these order blocks really need to tell you a story. So, and we talked about this doji candle. So you see this doji candle right here. So I know price did not exactly tap into the exactly at that order block right there as it did the previous day. But you see this doji candle. So let's assume it had tapped into it. And you know what we talked about yesterday? This is another trade that you can look to get into, like when trading those dojis. And this one would have been like a 200-point TP and stop loss. And right, this one would have hit TP. I'm sorry, this one would have hit full TP. But again, I think this one came in during Asia session yesterday. So this, man, I love order blocks. I've started loving order blocks this year a lot because they give you a story about where price is headed. But looks like this trade, would be back at entry, but I still think US 30 will come back down today. I don't think US 30 is going to come up. The other thing you need to look at is market structure. What seems to be happening here? Looks like we are out here forming lower highs and lower lows. So you can see here this structure that's happening here, and possibly will form a lower high here and then come back down here. So my hope is that we form a lower low here and then we ride price up with this trade right here. So this will probably happen next week. So I think US 30 is bound to flash anytime soon. So this again was just a markup. I did not take that trade. Gold is flashing down. So this is this looks good, but unfortunately on the hourly time frame, unless we get an hourly rejection level soon, there's nothing. Gold can keep dipping based off of where it's at right now. So I really do not see any other possible trade here for gold. Wait, let's see if we get any other rejection. I don't want to miss. Okay, so let's see what happens here for this US 30 trade. So there is a possible rejection level here, 15-minute, so we don't have to switch charts. So here, 447, 457, I just set an alert at my threshold, 10-point threshold. And then let's see how this one would have gone. Also for these rejection scalps, if you're trading futures, so you see what happened here? So you see how it's rejecting? We don't want this to reject back down like the distance of our TP, like something like that. So from where it's at, we want price to hit our 10-point marker first before even thinking about taking a rejection scalp here. Okay, so there it is. So so here there's two things you can do, right? You can either set a pending order here, and we have another one here on the 30-minute as well. And it looks valid as well. Let's see, reset chart. All right. So for the 30-minute one, 70.50. So for the 30-minute one, you wouldn't take that because it hasn't reached the 10-point, but it's already dropped 30. I'll go over it real quick. I don't want to miss the 15 one. The 15 one is still going on. The 15 one is still going on. But on the other hand, there's two things here. So actually, I wouldn't even be looking to take it based off of the 15-minute one. So let's go over this real quick. So sometimes you'll get two rejection levels that have printed at the same time. So we just printed a 15-minute one and a 30-minute one, right? So ideally, I always talk about you want to trade the most optimal one. So here, we would have rather traded the 30-minute one and just forgotten about the 15-minute one. However, what happened on the 30-minute one? On the 30-minute one, so remember the 10-point threshold? Let me show you guys this. So actually here, there's no trade to take. So remember the 10-point threshold? So we just printed a 15-minute one and printed a 30-minute one at the same time. So the best one to have traded would have been the 30-minute one. However, the 30-minute one did not the 30-minute one, once it got to the rejection level, it did not hit the 10-point threshold before coming back down. So when we observed it, once it actually hit this rejection level, it melted back down to the downside for like 20 points. So again, as much as it looks like it could have hit later on even here, it's not a trade I would have taken for that rejection level. So this rejection level here, that rejection scalp, yes, it would have hit, but there was a bit too much of red flags right there. So again, another rejection scalp would have hit, but it's not one that I would have taken. Like if I have two rejection level zones that I've printed at the same time, I want to go for the higher one. And unfortunately for the higher one for the 30-minute, before reaching the 10-point threshold, it actually came back down. And what was I saying earlier? Yes, for these rejection scalps, I recommend just taking one a day, one or two a day, because if you're doing futures, you can uh pass like what you can pass a futures because most of the futures accounts they have a better passing passing conditions, so you can take two rejection scalps to pass your futures account, or hey, even one, because some of these futures accounts they're like as low as $50 for like 100K or even a 50K account, so you can just wait for a nice A plus rejection scalp and just take the trade on it. On the other hand too, for some of these futures accounts, they like or prop firms, they want you to have like they have like a consistency rule, so they have like a consistency rule. Maybe you cannot make 20%, you have to have like at least 5 winning days, so you can do like what 200 a day or something. And if you have a bunch of futures accounts, let's say you have 10 of them, 200 equates to like what 2000, etc. So but yeah, so this rejection scalp's pretty nice. I don't think we'll get any other rejection scalp during the live session, but yeah, so this was another nice example there. Just pay attention to rejection areas that print at the same time right there. So yeah, so as much as that one would have hit, and even this one, right? So let's assume that we didn't have that red flag right there, right? And you're doing a 1:2 risk to reward. Again, this looks like it would have hit your 1:2 easily right there. I might get a prop firm account for rejection scalps because I really don't want to copy it to my other prop firms that don't allow me to hold a trade less than 5 minutes. But yeah, so that one would have been a pretty good one. Again, for me, it's just to direct you guys to any red flags that I see. You don't have to wait for the 10-point threshold. Yes, it just makes the entry more safer. Again, you can trade like here, you could have still traded the 15-minute rejection one, but again, it wouldn't have been the most optimal entry. Again, some of them will win, as we know, right? Even C setups will win. Like even setups that have a 30% win rate, sometimes they'll win 30%. But the question is, overall, over time, will they win more? So other than that, I really don't see anything else to hold on. We don't have any setups for the higher time frame for rejection levels. On the hourly, we don't have any rejection level that looks like it may come in during the day. Maybe this top one here on US 30 at 43,800. However, I really don't know or don't think if actually, you know what? US 30 might pump up. So speaking of doji candles, so you see this doji right here? It's like a butterfly doji or whatever. So this actually, if we review this trade, or if we review this setup right here, what is this candle telling us? This candle right here, this doji candle, whatever. I don't know the exact doji kind it is, but what is this doji candle telling us? So it's telling us that it came here. It came and rejected off of a daily bullish order block, which was in a supply zone, I'm sorry, which was in a demand zone, a heavy demand zone. Okay. So here, if I'm trading order blocks, you know what I would do? I would enter a buy. I would have entered a buy there on US 30, stop loss below this low of that doji. Because what these dojis will tell you is that sellers tried pushing price down, but buyers brought it back up with like what? And this was 100-point push. So sellers tried to push US 30 down here. Well, actually, it might have been smart money that was trying to come up and to come down and pick up liquidity. But anyway, there was heavy selling pressure for 200 points, and then buyers pushed back price up back to the upside for 200 points. So if I was trading order blocks here for US 30, this actually would be a nice trade here for 250 points. Stop loss 250 points TP. So this would have been but I haven't traded order blocks in forever. But this would be either an order block trade or a candlestick pattern trade. But yeah, I do love this dojis. I wish we had like a rejection level entry somewhere here for a buy, but unfortunately we do not. Or maybe a rejection scalp, but unfortunately we do not. On the 4-hour time frame, there's nothing here on the 4-hour time frame for a rejection entry. On the daily time frame, there's nothing here as well. So we'll just have to wait for the next entry. Possibly we'll get this US 30 buy next week at 42,905. For gold, we have possible rejection entry at 2600. So who knows, maybe gold will drop all the way back down to 2600. I don't know, but gold does look that it started looking bearish. Even BTC, if you guys have noticed, BTC has been dropping for like days. I think, oh, we actually hit 78,000 on Bitcoin yesterday. But yeah, so just reviewing some of the stats. So my stats, and actually I can just go to my actual journal. So this here is my actual journal, and these are the trades for this week. So the trades for this week, you guys can see Monday was up 4K, 2 trades only. Tuesday was up 2K, 3 trades. Wednesday up 2,000, about 2,000. I'll just round up or round down. 3 trades, 2,000. Yesterday, 4 trades, close to 4,000. And today, 1 trade, just 1,800. And that was because of the swaps. And this is my main account. It's a 200K account. And the balance is different. Actually, I've done it back and forth, so I've added numbers back and forth. So, but just looking at this, right, just for the week, that way. Uh, actually, it's 100. I'm sorry, it's a 100K account. It's not a 200K account. Um, my bad. Uh, I always forget. I have like 6 accounts. The other one. Actually, I need to change because that means I'm risking 2% per trade. Yeah, I'm actually risking 2%. I need to change this. I need to change my copier. I really messed this one up. But yeah. So anyway, 100K account. So far for this account, the account balance is 150K if you guys see here. So from 100K, 150. So but it's not the 50K. I haven't just made it this year. It's like through I think the 50K is through mid last year or somewhere towards the last quarter of last year. But just this week alone, out of the 50K profit in this account, it's 13,000 just this week. And I've literally realized that I've been messing up my risk for this account, which I actually need to adjust. I thought it was my 200K account. But anyway, yeah, so for this week, 76% win rate. I've had 13 trades, 10 winning trades, 3 losing trades. Average PNL is about 1,000 per trade. Return ROI like about 10%, which is good. Average profit per trading day about 2,700. Biggest winner 2,000. Biggest loser about 2K. So you guys can still see it's my 1:1 risk to reward. Winning streak, I had the last 5 trades. The last 5 trades, the last 3 have been winners. Had 1 losing trade and then 1 winner right there. So this has been a pretty nice week, which is why I didn't want to mess it up by risking that rejection scalp. But if I had taken that rejection scalp, would have been up probably close to 17K. And let's assume I had taken, those 2 rejection scalps. But anyway, I don't like doing like woulda, shoulda, coulda. Man, we just missed another one. Anyway, so this one's come up pretty quickly. So here is one to consider here. So here, real quick here, let's see how far up this one went. So this one will probably be the last analysis of the day. Yeah, so this one did not even meet the 10 point threshold. So let's analyze this one real quick here, because it gives us an overview of what I was talking about earlier. So what did I talk about earlier? Once a rejection level prints, you first see what time frame did it print on. So this is so on the 15-minute time frame, this indicator will give you all rejection levels. Even though you want a 5-minute one, there's settings in the indicator just to allow you to do that. But this one, it told us there's a 30-minute possible rejection level. Now, if we go on the 30-minute chart on US 30, this 30-minute sell rejection level here is still at the bottom here. So it's probably telling us that in the next 30-minute time frame, that this rejection level that's down here will readjust and come somewhere up here. Because on the 15, remember, the lower time frames kind of show you what is probably going to happen on the higher time frames. So for me here, it would have been a question of, if I go to the 30-minute level, has this rejection level been created already? No, it hasn't. So this is another part where you probably don't want to take that. So if that rejection level hasn't printed on the time frame that it has told you here on whatever chart you're trading, on the 15-minute, on the 5-minute, if you go to the 30-minute and we don't have it here, there's no need to take that trade. Because here's the other thing too. It did not even, so that's step number one, based off of what I talked about when I started this call. If it hasn't printed on the time frame that it tells you here, do not take that trade, because you can easily get taken out. The other part here too, you can see here, yes, it printed, but unfortunately, price did not get to the 10 point marker here. Price got to that rejection level and rejected back down. We just saw it. It rejected back down to where our TP would have been, like 20 points. So at this point, if you had any 10-point marker rejection, you just go ahead and delete the trade, and you don't even need to look at the trade. So what we'll do here, let us wait to see if this 30-minute rejection level will print on this 30-minute candle time frame over the next 15 minutes, and then we'll see. So here, what you would do, instead of actually trying, so you want to trade, and I think I did make a mistake, that mistake with you guys for some of the rejection scalps that we, and it's not a mistake, because again, this is a new strategy. So again, right, I always review some of these strategies, like this is why I like forward testing them, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks after I've found like a pattern. So some of the ones, or most of the ones that I've been taking last week, even though it was an hourly rejection level, I was taking it on the 15-minute time frame. If it was a 30-minute, I was taking it on the 15-minute time frame. The idea is that if you get a 15-minute rejection level, make sure you take it, go to the 15-minute chart, take it on the 15-minute chart. If you get an hourly rejection level, go to the hourly chart, make sure that it's there at the same level, and take it on the hourly time frame. So here you can see that, yes, on the 15-minute, we have printed a 30-minute rejection level. But if we go to the 30-minute here on US 30, this 30-minute, which is a 30-minute sell, is still all the way down here. It's at 43,350, but on the 15-minute time frame, it's at 43,500. So there's like 150-point difference. So what we want here, we want to wait on the 30-minute chart and make sure that it's still there. Now, you don't have to do that. You can trade every rejection level on the 15-minute time frame. You'll definitely get more trades, but you can, again, easily get faked out on a couple of those trades, which is why also I think if you're going to probably ignore some of this, because you don't have to go to the other time frame, but if you ignore, for example, the requirement of going to the time frame where the rejection level has been printed, then start doing a 1:2 risk to reward for your rejection scalps, and set break even once you get a 1:1. I think that's probably safer. If you're going to, and that's with anything, if you're going to ignore some red flags on some of these trades, go for a 1:2 risk to reward, and set break even once you achieve a 1:1 risk to reward. So let's see here. Let's see if by ignoring anything here, you would have, so 43,509, let's see what happened at 43,509 here. So 43,509, 43, 509. If somebody chose to go for a 1:2 risk to reward here, what time did this happen? So 15 minute. What time is it? 10, 11. Let me think this through. 10, 11. So this candle opened up at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Okay. And actually, you know what? You would have, if you ignored the red flag for that trade, you would have gotten faked out or stopped out. So if you took this trade here, but you entered on the 5-second time. Now, if you took this trade and set a pending order, yes, so the pending order would have been at 43,509. Pending order would have been at 43,509. So pending order, 43,509. Pending order, and this is assuming you don't even wait for a 10-point entry. So pending order would have been 43,509. If you would have gone for a 1:1 risk to reward, would have been full TP. If you went for a 1:2 risk to reward with stop loss at break even, stop loss at 1:1, you'd have actually hit TP. But now if you entered on the 5-second time frame, you would have lost this trade. So again, just find your best entry. For me, I just prefer the 5-second one, but I'll start seeing if maybe I want to do the 1:2. I do like the 1:2 risk to reward, especially if you have a large account balance. I do like the 1:2 risk to reward. I want to see if we get this rejection entry on the 30-minute. So I want to see, I'll stay on for like 10 more minutes. I want to see what happens here on this rejection entry. I want to observe if this 30-minute is actually going to move up right there. So this is the doji one that we're talking about. Let me see. Let me share my other chart just in the meantime to see if there are any trend line and SAR entries. What's my other chart? My other chart is this one. Trend line and SAR entries. Okay, so let's see for US30. This is a trade I was following earlier. So there's for this other indicate. So you guys know that ideally my most profitable strategy is the trendline and SAR rejection entry, but normally there is some change break break of structure that comes in during London session or Asia session. Unfortunately, I'm normally asleep by then, but there's this indicator that I have that shows a rejection of the trend lines and shows you the break of the trend line. So PBR is a prime break of resistance. PBS is prime break of support. And some of these entries, they're pretty nice, especially when you've had a downtrend in the market the previous day. So here you can see yesterday for US30, we had a downtrend of about what? So this was what? This was, oh, wow. And I don't know if it's yesterday. Oh, wait, it's actually yesterday. US30 dropped for 700 points. Actually, 800 points. So there was a drop of 800 points for US30 yesterday, right? And this is on the 15-minute time frame. And you see where we came back to? We came back to this area of demand. So we came back to this demand area. We had a bunch of wicks from the bottom here, a bunch of wicks from the bottom. And also what were we rejecting off of? We are rejecting, or we were in this daily bullish order block. So here, if I was awake during Asia session and this came up at midnight or about 1 a.m. in Eastern time yesterday, so, and we got a prime break of resistance here. So price broke out of this zone. We are in a order block, a daily order block. We have these rejections, dojis from the downside. You just enter the trade right there, stop loss below the previous low or below this order block, and this trade would have, ran during Asia, right there. So I'm actually looking for people who like trading Asia so that hopefully we can do more with this strategy. But if I was awake with Asia, I would be. And these trades are normally nice and very stress free because ideally you're anticipating a reversal in the market, and most of the times reversals in the market happen. Most of the time reversals in the market happen during Asia session, in London session. But anyway, so no trendline and SAR rejection for the day here. Um, Nothing here. Nothing for gold. Based off of where gold is, we'll probably not get any trendline and SAR rejection because we'll probably get a trendline rejection, but no SAR rejection level because gold hasn't been in these zones in a minute. BTC, I'm probably not. I'm probably going to stop trading BTC because I just don't like the price movement. But here as well, unfortunately, here for BTC, there was no prime break of resistance. But right during this swing back up to the upside or downside, you either expect a prime break of resistance or prime break of support. So there's nothing here for BTC as well. So I'll switch back to the other chart and let's see if I'm just waiting to see where that rejection level will print for US 30 on the 30-minute, right? So we want to see what this 30-minute sell will print. So is it going to remain right here or is it going to come and print somewhere up there? So let's see how that one prints. And then that will be it for the live session for the day and for the week. And then we'll just meet up next week. So we have 4 more minutes for this one, for this candle to close. Da, 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 da. Mm. Okay. I don't know if it's going to shift. So maybe it's going to shift later, the 30-minute, but I want to see if it's going to shift in real time. So what we're observing here, we want to observe if this 30-minute rejection level that has printed on the 15-minute will shift. So I'll stay on for like 4 more minutes and see how that goes. Let's see. Mhm. Oh my goodness. Let's see, let's see, let's see. What am I looking for here? Mm, excuse me. Uh, okay, so I don't know if it's going to print. Maybe if it prints, it's probably going to print maybe at a higher level. Let's see how this goes. All right, so this one would still be so yeah, US 30 looks like it might push this doji again. This candlesticks they need to be telling you a story. So candles, so look out for the doji candlesticks, and look out for yeah, doji candle. Actually, not doji candlesticks, just because I don't want to use the term doji in a wrong sense, but candlesticks that have long wicks either from the bottom or from the top. Same thing here. You see what happened yesterday here? And I was waiting on a sell for US 30 here yesterday. You see what happened here? This candlesticks here. So let me replay. There was a sell on US 30 here that I was waiting for, right? I saw these candlesticks. This week's from the top, and then I think it was the hourly. No, 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 no. It was the four hour. You see here, this rejection on the 4 hour time frame yesterday for US 30. I was waiting for this trade right here. I had actually set a pending order already, but unfortunately price, and we had gone over it during the live session. There was when we were reviewing it, there was a red flag where there was an overlap in supply and demand zones, or the green and red zones. But when this candle closed, there was no overlap. So when this 4 hour candle closed, you see there was no overlap. So this zone fully, transformed into a supply zone. But unfortunately, US 30 ended up melting heavily before tapping my pending order. So actually, you know, did not get triggered for this trade because I was hoping that price would come, tap me in, and then maybe melt down. But that did not happen. But let's see. Let's go back to that 30-minute time frame. So for the 30-minute time frame, this 30-minute level has not yet uh validated on the 30-minute chart. So it has validated on the 15-minute. So it might take maybe two more 15-minute candles. So what this is just telling you is that on the 15-minute time frame, there will probably be a 30-minute rejection level that will validate at 43,509. But if you go to the 30-minute chart, the 30-minute sell rejection level is still at 43,350. So what the 15-minute is just showing you is that what is likely to happen on the 30-minute time frame, maybe after another hour or after something else. But for me, I'm done trading for the day. And for this rejection scalps, I do recommend you only take them during um, market open to about 11 a.m. Eastern time, so between 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time, or during heavy news releases like CPI, NFP. I think they will be perfect for those events. The other time that you can look to take them is between 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon Eastern time. Yesterday as well. The win I took a win yesterday on of a rejection scalp. Yesterday, same time that I took a win. So let me see. Yesterday. Yeah, yesterday at 2:37 p.m. I took a rejection scalp, which was the same time. So if you go back to the previous day, so yesterday uh we go to 226. Maybe I posted in Trade Ideas recap. So 226. Yeah, 226 rejection scalp. See what time I took this? 2:30. So on Wednesday, I took a winning rejection scalp at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Yesterday, what time did I take the winning scalp, rejection scalp? 2:37 p.m. So also look out at those hours, 1:30 to 3:30 Eastern time, 9:30 to 11 a.m. Eastern time, and also during heavy news releases. Again, I will also include this rejection scalp strategy in the guidebook that I'm working on, that just goes over how to apply each of these strategies. And then again, that will probably be ready by the end of March. I'm a little behind on it because I have other things that I'm working on, but hopefully that's ready by then. But other than that, I will see you guys next week. Hopefully you guys have an amazing weekend. And then I'll catch you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to post in the Discord. If you want a review of any of these strategies, let me know, and then we will go over that. But see you guys